Ethan Cole never liked ceremonies. He was a quiet engineer, not a soldier, and definitely not someone who should be standing in the grand hall of an alien empire. The room shimmered with silver light and every wall curved like liquid metal. Hundreds of Kelleran dignitaries stood in silence, their tall forms dressed in royal robes that moved like mist. The air carried a low hum of strange music, almost alive. He had been sent to the Kalira system as a technician to fix a broken translator relay. But somehow, through a chain of mistakes, he had ended up standing beside the Kelleran queen herself. His job was supposed to be simple: check the frequency, repair the node, return to the outpost. But now he was in the middle of a ceremony he didn't understand, with cameras and drones circling him from every direction. The queen, Seraphine of House Kaleth, was unlike anyone he had ever seen. Her eyes glowed faintly blue, her long silver hair floating slightly in the air as if touched by invisible wind. She stood tall and calm, her hands folded before her. When she looked at Ethan, he felt like the room itself had stopped breathing. "Human Ethan Cole," said the tall priest beside him, in a broken translation.
"Step forward."
"Accept the symbol of harmony." Ethan blinked in confusion. "Wait, what symbol? I just came here to—" Before he could finish, a young attendant placed a small crystal device in his hands. It pulsed softly, sending a tiny vibration through his palms. He thought it was some sort of scanner and decided to turn it on to show he had no fear of alien technology. He pressed the center. The entire hall flashed white. A wave of light rippled outward, reaching every corner of the chamber. Symbols and holograms appeared in the air, ancient ones glowing in gold and blue. The alien crowd gasped, some kneeling instantly, others bowing low. Ethan froze, staring at the crystal as it floated up from his hands and hovered between him and the queen. The queen's calm eyes widened. The golden light formed a glowing bond that connected the two of them, circling their wrists like living fire. The priest dropped to one knee. "The sacred bond has been awakened. The queen is chosen." Ethan felt his heart stop. "Chosen? Wait, no, this is not what I meant to do. I was just—" Guards moved forward in perfect formation, their armor shining like mirrors. One of them spoke quickly in Kelleran tongue. The translator in Ethan's ear buzzed with static, then finally caught a few words. "The human has completed the binding. The prophecy is sealed." "What prophecy?" Ethan whispered, his voice trembling. He turned toward the queen, trying to explain, but she stepped closer, studying him as if trying to read his soul. For the first time, she spoke directly to him. "Human, do you understand what you have done?" Her voice was soft but carried power, like 1,000 strings of sound woven into one. Ethan swallowed hard. "No, Your Majesty. I really don't." Her gaze lingered on him, unreadable. Then fate has played its hand. The crowd began to chant her name. Seraphine Kaleth, bound to the foreign one. "The Queen of Two Worlds." Ethan took a step back, panic rushing through him. Wait. I'm not— This is a misunderstanding." But the guards surrounded him. The crystal dimmed and floated down between them. When it touched the queen's hand, a faint mark appeared on Ethan's wrist, an intricate design glowing faintly blue. The crowd murmured louder. Seraphine turned to her council. "He is to be escorted to the royal palace. The bond must be protected until the next dawn." Ethan tried to protest, but the translator glitched again. His words came out distorted in their language. Whatever he said must have sounded like agreement because the crowd cheered. 2 guards stepped forward and gently but firmly guided him away from the platform. As they walked through the long corridor lined with living light, Ethan's mind raced. Married to a queen? How? Why? He didn't even know what that device was. When they reached a transport chamber, one of the guards spoke with a hint of sympathy. "You have joined the queen by the bond of eternity. Few are chosen. Be honored." "I didn't choose anything," Ethan said, running a hand through his hair. "This is insane. There has to be a way to fix this." But the guard only bowed slightly. "Once the bond is made, it cannot be broken without bringing ruin to both souls." The chamber door sealed shut. Through the transparent wall, he could see the planet's capital glowing beneath a violet sky. Towers stretched for miles, connected by glowing bridges. He had never seen anything so beautiful and so terrifying. When they arrived at the palace, everything gleamed. Soft lights followed him as he walked through the grand halls. Alien servants whispered, their eyes wide with curiosity. Some looked at him with awe, others with resentment. Finally, he was brought to a large chamber filled with crystalline furniture and floating lanterns. The guards bowed and left him alone. Ethan stood there, staring at the shimmering walls. He sank onto a couch that felt warm, almost alive. He touched his wrist again. The glowing mark still pulsed gently. It wasn't a dream. It was real. Outside, he could see the Queen standing on a balcony overlooking her world. Even from afar, she looked calm, distant, and powerful. He couldn't read her thoughts, but he felt something strange. A faint echo like her emotions brushing against his own. Ethan whispered to himself, "Great. Just great. I came to fix a transmitter, and somehow I ended up married to an alien queen." The mark on his wrist pulsed once as if agreeing with him. Ethan woke up to the sound of a soft humming. The room was filled with light that seemed to come from nowhere. Everything around him glowed faintly. The walls, the furniture, even the air. For a moment he forgot where he was. Then the memories rushed back. The ceremony. The crystal. The Queen. He sat up, still wearing the same dark uniform from the day before. His wrist tingled where the glowing mark was. When he looked down at it, he saw it was still there, moving slightly like a slow heartbeat. He tried rubbing it away, but it didn't fade. A door opened silently, and two tall Caliran attendants stepped inside. They bowed slightly, their silver eyes calm. One of them spoke softly through a translator. "Consort Ethan, the Queen requests your presence in the Hall of Winds." "Consort?" Ethan said, almost choking on the word. No, I'm not anyone's." The attendants didn't seem to hear his protest. They motioned politely for him to follow. Ethan sighed and stood up. As he walked, the palace unfolded around him, vast corridors filled with floating art, gardens growing under domes of blue light, and long bridges that crossed over open air. The alien architecture made him feel both small and fascinated. When they reached the Hall of Winds, the large doors opened soundlessly. Inside, Queen Seraphine stood near a transparent wall that overlooked her city. She turned as he entered, her silver hair shimmering under the soft light. "You look troubled, human," she said gently. Ethan stopped a few feet away, unsure whether to bow or salute. "Troubled? That's one word for it. Yesterday I was fixing a transmitter. Now half the galaxy thinks I married you." Her expression didn't change, but her eyes softened. "You activated the bonding crystal. It recognizes truth and destiny. Once awakened, it cannot be undone." He sighed, running a hand through his hair. "It was an accident. I didn't even know what it was." "I know," she said quietly. "But to my people there are no accidents, only signs." Ethan tried to keep calm. "So what happens now? Do I go home? Do I stay here? Am I your prisoner?" The Queen walked closer, stopping just a step away. Her presence was calm but strong, like a storm held in silence. "You are not my prisoner, but you are bound by our law. Breaking the bond would destroy the unity my world depends on. There are factions waiting to tear this empire apart. Your presence keeps them in balance." He blinked. "You mean me staying here stops a civil war?" "Yes," she said softly. "Your arrival fulfilled a prophecy. A foreign soul joined to the crown. Many believe it is the sign of peace returning. If you disappear now, that hope will die." Ethan looked away. "I'm just an engineer. I fix machines, not empires." Seraphine gave a small smile. "Perhaps you fix more than you realize." The silence between them grew heavy. Ethan could feel the faint connection again, a quiet emotion that wasn't his own, something like sorrow. He wondered if it came from her. Later that day, guards escorted him through the palace, showing him where he could walk freely. The Queen had given him private quarters overlooking a wide blue ocean. Food arrived automatically, strange but delicious dishes that shimmered on his plate. Servants treated him with polite curiosity, though he noticed some avoided looking him in the eye. When night came, Ethan stood on the balcony, watching the twin moons rise over the horizon. He couldn't sleep. He kept thinking of Earth, of his friends back on the outpost, of how none of them would believe this story. Suddenly, he heard soft footsteps. He turned and saw the Queen standing at the doorway. She wore a long robe that looked woven from light itself. "I didn't mean to disturb you," she said softly. "You haven't eaten." "I'm not really hungry," he admitted. "I've been thinking about what happens next." She stepped beside him, looking at the stars. "So have I." There was something different in her tone now, less formal, almost human. "I didn't wish for this either," she said. "My advisors urged me to bond with someone of noble blood. But when the crystal chose you, I saw no deceit in your heart. You are honest. Rarely do I see that. Ethan gave a small, tired smile. Honesty didn't do me much good this time. For the first time, she laughed softly, a quiet sound that seemed to fill the air. Perhaps not now, but perhaps soon. They stood together in silence for a long moment. The bond on his wrist glowed faintly, and he noticed a small shimmer on her hand, too. The same mark, pulsing in rhythm with his. Does it always do that? He asked quietly. It reacts when we are near each other, she said. It's alive. It listens. That's comforting, he said dryly. She smiled again. Tomorrow you will meet my council. They will test you, question you, but I believe you will endure. I don't even speak your language, he said. You speak truth, she replied. They will hear that. When she left, Ethan leaned against the balcony rail, the cool night air brushing his face. He looked at his glowing mark again and whispered to himself, What have I gotten into? Far below, the palace lights reflected off the ocean, and the stars above shimmered like they were watching. Somewhere deep inside, he felt something shift, maybe curiosity, maybe respect, or maybe something he didn't yet understand. And in her chambers, far across the palace, Queen Seraphine sat alone before the bonding crystal, watching its gentle glow. She touched her wrist where the same mark pulsed faintly, and for the first time in years she allowed herself to whisper a thought aloud.